welcome to episode 33 of Annijuuti Knits. Hi friends! Welcome back to Annijuuti Knits. This is my knitting podcast here on YouTube and welcome. My name is Anniina. I come to you from Finland, where I live with my two little boys and my husband, and You can also find me on Instagram as Annijuuti Knits and on Ravelry as Annijuuti. Let's get started. Today's business. I have a lot of things to show you. I've been quite busy and I was having a bit of a accessory knitting frenzy, and that's why I have a lot of finished objects. But before I go into those, I will tell you what I'm wearing today. If you have been following me along for a while, you have seen this sweater before, but because I don't have so many knitted items that I could change in every single episode, I will keep repeating as in real life. We pull things to wear what we love, and this happens to be my most worn sweater, I think. And that is because this is my first ever sweater that I started, the second that got finished, but this is from the pattern Riddari, and that was at a time a free pattern. I think it's a paid for pattern now. It's an Icelandic pattern for Icelandic yarn, and if you can see, it doesn't really look nothing like the original, and that's because even though it was my first ever sweater, I did modify it heavily using a fingering weight yarn, because who doesn't knit their first sweater out of a fingering weight yarn, right? So this is made out of sock yarn. This is Grundl Hot Socks Pearl, and it's a woolen sock yarn with nylon and a little bit of a cashmere in it. It pills a lot. I did actually de-pill it this morning so that it looks more fresh for you to show, and it was in many ways a project gone wrong, but then again I did learn quite a lot of about sweater making while I was making this, so maybe it all turned out quite well. So as I said, it's made with fingering weight yarn, so I did heavily modify the gauge, but I did not know, because I wasn't familiar with, I was familiar with stitch gauge, but I didn't really take into consideration the raw gauge so much. So I think the yoke is not quite steep enough. It wears well, but it's quite tight or high on the armpits, and yeah, so that's probably is the main issue. And also the yarn stretched quite a lot when washed, and it was at some point more of a tunic before I washed it again, but no, I don't really mind. One other problem is that it's bracelet length. It's not full length, because it grew widthwise and I didn't know, so here we are. But still, I've been wearing it a lot, and especially wintertime when I go for walks and all that, I always tend to grab this because it adds a lot of warmth, even though it's a thin sweater. And yeah, I did add elastic last winter because the neckline was huge, and I always have a camisole or a tank top underneath, and I was annoyed that you could always see the straps, which was annoying. So I did just thread through some elastic like thread, not even an elastic band, but just this thin thread to cinch it in, which it did, and it looks nice. But I think I did tie it a bit too tight, but I haven't got around loosening it up. So, you know, it sits quite high up, but I don't care. That was a lot of rant over an old sweater of mine. But I do love the colors, and I did use, I think it was probably my first or one of the first hand-dyed skeins of variegated yarn. So I think it's quite special in many ways. But yeah, let's get started with my finished objects. And as I said, I have a lot. I will go through them from the, I don't even know which order I did finish them, so maybe I'll just go through them. So I finished finally these little stripy socks. These were made for a friend's son, and they are made with Novita Muumi. Was it Muumitalo or I don't remember. Just one of those Novita DK weight yarns. And I tried to match them as best as I could. I did mention this already last time. So I pulled one end from the inside and one from the outside to make them 2 at a time magic loop. So the light stripes do match, but the dark stripes are not in the same order. But I think they match quite well, and yeah, I'm pleased with that. One thing that happened during the finishing touches that I made, I forgot them soaking overnight, but luckily there was no dye escaping, so they were all intact, even though I did forget them soaking for quite some time. But yeah, just basic socks, DK weight. I did use, I think, 3.25 millimeter needles and slip stitch heel flap, the Dutch turn, the box heel, and just a very basic toe. Yeah, nothing fancy about these. And they are now going to be gifted. The next thing you have already seen was my dad's sweater, and hooray, I finished it. It wasn't quite ready for his birthday, but it's been now 2 weeks, so it's 2 weeks late. I will bring it to him today or tomorrow, but yeah, here it is. Here you can see the color work better. So this is a Raglan sweater that I just made calculations for. There's no pattern. I just went with my knowledge of a Raglan sweater. I calculated with my gauge how much stitches or how much increases and what do I have to do with it. And yeah, I did short rows in the neck, and then I did short rows at the back after splitting for sleeves. I don't know if you can see them, but they are there. I think they blocked out really well. But I did try it on to my husband, and it wasn't high enough, because men tend to have a bit more muscular back, so that's why I added a second round of short rows at the back, so just after splitting for sleeves. This sweater uses Istex gump yarn. I don't have the label here, but I've shown it before in my previous episodes. If you are interested, you can have a look. And yeah, it softened up quite a bit, even though it was really soft on the touch already, but this is like, there's like no itch factor whatsoever. So it's a merino yarn 100%, but I believe that is a non-superwash merino. So it was a bit rough on the hands, not really, but a bit more rustic, not quite as like buttery soft, but now it is very, very soft, and the color work blocked out really nicely, and I'm really pleased. And I made my dad try it on, was it a week ago? Before it was just before I added the last color work. So the body was nearly done, and he seemed pretty pleased, and the fit was great. So yeah, I'm looking forward gifting this to him, and I'm thinking he might be wearing this a lot during the fall and winter season, and also the years to come, I believe. So yeah, those were the two that you have already seen. And then I showed you last time this cowl, this Vohveli cowl, and I had some yarn left over. I did have, wait a minute, I had the little nugget here. Ooh. Scoopity scoop. So I had 25 grams of this Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool left, and I was like, just, you know, I was just trying it out if that would be enough to make a headband, and it was. Now my hair is not my hair is not perfectly for this type of a thing, but anyway, so I just made like a very ordinary headband with some twist in the front, and I did use the same broken rib for the whole thing. So I used the Peruvian and the mohair that I had, and I got a perfect matching set from the same yarn, and I didn't have much leftovers except for this little, I don't know, 1 or 2 grams of wool left. I did show you last time that I want to make a hat, and I had a different shade. So this is Kaaramajan's Merino DK, and the colorway is called Ochre, which is ochre in English. And I made a matching hat for my cowl. They are not exactly the same color. The other one is a bit more yellow, but I think they really work well. And I did some decreases at the top, and the body of the hat is just the same broken rib and the basic 1x1 rib at the brim. And I did add a little tag that says "Itse tehty," which means handmade. I've received that tag as a gift. So yeah, these will be published as individual patterns. I'm not really sure if I should write up this headband because it's very basic. What do you think? Is there a need for it? Because I don't know, it's just very basic. So I'm not sure if I'm going to write that up, but I have written both of these, and the cowl has already been tested. And I don't know, should I wait until both of them are tested and release them together, or should I just publish this first and then the hat when it's done? Tell me your opinion. I will listen. Yeah, so the hat is just a basic hat, nothing too fancy about it, but I do like to create my patterns to multiple sizes, like the Rusko beanie that I did last winter, or I think it was, maybe it wasn't winter yet. It was fall, last fall. So I published the Ruskobini, and I did grade it from a newborn to a larger adult head. So I did grade this to 5 different sizes, from a baby to a larger adult head. So I think, even though it's a very basic hat, I think it's a good to provide a large range of sizes, and that therefore I think that's a pattern that is worth publishing. Whew. Yeah, so Vohveli series collection, and I did make something else too. These also are not going to be a pattern, but I had some leftovers from the hat. I knew that it was not going to be enough for a pair of mittens, but because I really needed a pair of mittens, I decided to see how far I can go with that yarn. And then I had this similar shade of knitting for olive heavy merino, so I decided to use that as a tip of the fingers and the thumb, because I really wanted to use all of this glorious DK weight merino that I had. So, and this was the perfect way. So I just made the very basic mitten that we all learn, at least here in Finland. Just a basic rib and a tube. You insert another, like you insert scrap yarn in between, and then you continue to knit the tube, and then you may make the decreases, and at the end you just pull out the scrap yarn, and there is a hole. You pick up the stitches and make the thumb. So there is no gusset, because I thought that since this is a ribbed mitten, you don't really need the gusset because it stretches, and I think it's very comfortable fit as it is. Preferably I would have made the cuff a bit longer, but I only had like 40 grams of the merino left, so I didn't want to overdo it. If I would do it and I would have more yarn, I would make the cuff at least 2 centimeters, like an inch longer. But yeah, now I have a perfect set for the winter and the fall season, and I'm really happy about that, and 2 of them at least will become a pattern. And for the pattern, I did make another cowl. I think I showed you the yarn, maybe I had started already, probably. This is now the larger size, and this is made out of drops air, which is a bit thinner yarn. So it is a thinner yarn than the DK. So I did manage to get the gauge exactly the way it was, but this one is much more airier. It's kind of, it feels like cotton candy, or I don't know. It's very cloud-like. Let me show you. So this is now the bigger size, and it's just much more loose on the top, and yeah, it looks like this. I think it's very, very comfortable under a coat, and even if you have like a V-shaped neckline, it covers, it warms your neck properly. So yeah, this is the Vohveli cowl, and this was the second, or the larger size that I made. There is also a junior there's also a junior size, and there have been testers that made that also. I will put one of those pictures here. This is my friend Marika and her son. son in his Vohveli cowl. So this pattern will come in 3 sizes, a junior, adult, and adult large, and it's very easily modifiable. Modifiable? Is that even a word? You can really easily modify the size, because it's just, you increase and you just increase to the point you like. So you can easily make it smaller or even bigger if you prefer like an oversized cowl. But yeah, I've been obsessing over this color lately. So this is my cowl, my headband, my hat, and also my caramel fox socks. They are all in the same shade, even though I'm using 4 different yarns here. But yeah, clearly I have been having a phase of this caramelly color. The caramel fox socks are now out. The pattern is still 20% off if you use the code the fall of socks, since I have that fall of socks knit along, and it's running until the end of October. So if you want to join, you just need a pair of socks that I have designed and use the hashtag fall of socks cal on Instagram, and you will be participating on the knit along. And fall of socks cal FO, right? For the finished object. Yeah. So the caramel fox socks, they have this lacy motif running across, or running all the way from the toe to the cuff. And there are some small cables. There is a fleagle heel, and the cables are running all the way up. And they are made toe up. Yeah, so you can grab your copy if you are interested. It is still 20% off until the end of October. But yeah, two more whips. Those were all finished objects, and there was a lot. So there are 2 more whips, and one of them you have already seen, and the other one is it was started last night, so you have not seen it. So knit-alongs. Actually, I have another pair of socks. Sorry, I'm rambling. I'm kind of rushing because my younger son has been sick the whole week, and he still had really didn't have any fever, but his temperature was a little bit higher than usual last night. So he doesn't have a runny nose or anything anymore, but I took him to my mother-in-law for a little bit so that I can film. So I will have to go and pick him up. So that's why the rush. Anyway, there has been my handbag knit, or my lunchtime knit, which has been these socks. I did show you already the leg last time, but now I have made the heel. I did the heel flap and the French turn. So slip stitch heel flap, as I normally always do, because it's very durable. And I have just started the gusset decreases, so nothing much has happened. This is an opal yarn, just a basic vanilla sock traveling with me. It has been going with me to work, and I've put few stitches here and there. Now to the second, or this is actually participating on 2 different knit-alongs. This is my Hipster shawl by Joji Locatelli, and I'm more than halfway through it. I was hoping to finish it by today, because I was hoping to participate on the Across the Pond shawl cal by Ruth Loves to Knit, and Little Monkeys and Me, Fernanda. But I really had a little bit of a void after finishing my dad's sweater. So I was like, I need to get another sweater on my needles. But I didn't know which one. And then suddenly it struck me yesterday that I need to start another one. So this one got pushed away. And like Ruth always says, it's my knitting. I cast on if I want to. So that's exactly what I did. And I will snap a picture of this unfinished shawl, and I will put it on the ATPS Cal, maybe. I will I will use the right hashtag, but I will put this on the whip under the whip hashtag, so that it wasn't quite finished, but I'm quite long way. One thing that I hate about this, I really dislike this feature, is the little hump. I did show this already last time, but I think it's really hard to block this out because it's so big. This is what I hate about crescent shawls. If the increase rate, as I was informed in my last comments, that the increase rate is wrong and it leaves this hump behind, and I really dislike it. I have been really careful not to make this edge tight, and it's very stretchy, so that's not the problem. It's just the beginning of it, and I really dislike this feature in shawls. But I will block it as hard as I can to to minimize the little mountain on top of this shawl. I am using two different yarns. I have lost the label of this one. I think it was BFL silk and something else, maybe wool. No, BFL silk and something. It's a lace weight yarn, and then I have this single ply merino, just a superwash merino, and I am holding these two together. This is my first skein. I do have two, but I think even though I'm using 5mm needles, I think this will be smaller. I may do a few extra rounds before the tassels, but I don't know. It's quite airy because of the holes of the crisscrosses, so I don't mind if it's a bit smaller. It's a more summery shawl, or a shawl that I can wear inside, so I don't mind. To be honest, I have not been enjoying all that much knitting this shawl. I really want to have this shawl. I think the color is stunning, but the crisscrosses have just annoyed me a lot. The first round was fine, it was quite small, and because I have done these crisscrosses before, I knew that you need to be careful not to wrap your yarn overs too tight. And the first one was okay, the second one I was struggling a bit, and the third one I was struggling a lot. It took a long time, because I think my yarn overs were too tight, and because of 5mm needles, if the wraps, they go to the cord, it's quite a big difference. This is kind of bent, I think, so the difference is quite big from the cord to the needle, and I just could not get them back onto the needle, and it took so long. It was ridiculous, and I was like, I really wanted to burn this thing, but because I really want to have this shawl, I am persevering, and it is nearly done. So there is these crisscrosses, and there is this textured band in between. You can't really tell. I think it's quite dark. I'm hoping it will pop more when blocked, but there are these like arrowheads in between. But yeah, I am now on the last garter section, and then I will have one more round of these crisscrosses, and then I should just bind off, but I might do few more garter rounds just to increase the size a little bit. But yeah, I've been doing this quite a lot. At least it feels like I've been doing this quite a lot, but it hasn't really grown because of the hard rows that I was struggling with. But yeah, I will participate with that shawl for the Hoki Fall Cow, and luckily I have another 2 months to finish that shawl, but it will be done probably this weekend. Today is Friday, the 30th of September, and I'm pretty sure it won't take a long time to finish, but it wasn't finished for the end of September and the end of the Across the Pond shawl cow. Right, one more whip, or actually I have here two, but I can show it. I haven't done pretty much like any progress. Last time I showed this toe, I had like this much, so I've worked on it for like half an hour. So this is my second Elo sock, and it's currently in testing, and this will be released before the end of October. But that wasn't the case. I just wanted you to have a look at the motif, or the motifs, the spike-like motifs, or what's the word for the grain? Is it the spike? Yeah, so I wanted you to see that because that has something to do with my cast on, or the newest cast on that I did yesterday. Let me see if I can show this. So this is a beginning of a sweater, and it's a very small beginning. I have a provisional cast on, that's why the light or the white yarn, and here maybe you can see are the first motifs. It's very bumpy and lumpy because there's a lot of increases. So I had this yarn. I've had it for a long time. I've purchased it straight from a mill here in Finland. I ordered like this, like a second quality. It has partially some looser twist to it. It's a very soft Finnish wool. It's made with these longer fibers, so it is really soft. And I have swatched, I think already last winter, maybe, with 2 different needle sizes, because I had this cable pullover thing in mind that I never got round to doing. So now I decided that I really want to have a turtleneck pullover. That's why the provisional cast on. And I decided to borrow or reuse the chart from these Elo socks to create a pullover. But now the motif is different way, or like pointing downwards. So it reminds me a little bit of the, what's the word, like the spruce twig, the needles, the little needles of a spruce. So they will be pointing downwards so that the motif will be this way. I don't know if this is going to be a success or a miss, but we will see soon enough. But I think it was an idea worth trying, and since I had already swatched, I could just start. I did some calculations, and we'll see how it works. If it has been ripped out, or if I will have like a full yoke next time I talk to you. But yeah, this is the last whip that I have. I have a little bit of acquisitions this time. The last few times I haven't had any, but now I have a little bit. And if you are if you want to see my purchases, feel free to continue watching. And if that's not your thing, then I will say goodbye and I'll see you next time. But I will now move into my acquisitions, and then I will shortly talk about a little bit life stuff at the end of this whole thing. And yeah, where to start? Okay, my husband really rarely asks for anything, especially ask for anything handmade. And a couple of weeks ago he was asking me for socks. He said that you probably are going to make me some socks. Maybe you could consider the next time you make me socks to make me Twin Peaks socks. And I was like, Twin Peaks socks? Like, I didn't have any clue. So he showed me this picture and he was like, I would like to have socks inspired by this. And I want the red to be a velvet curtain red. So I was like, right. I had some red in my stash. I did show it to him and he was like, it was like too bright or too brown or whatever. So I went online and I found this Ruskanlehti merino sock, and I think this hits the brief quite well. I'm not sure if it looks brighter on the camera or not, but in real life I think this is pretty close to what he had in mind. Maybe it's a tad like brighter, but you know, hey ho, this is what I got. So I will make the leg portion and the heel in red, and then I will make the whole foot in this chevron black and white. That's my idea. He definitely is not watching my podcasts, so I'm pretty safe showing you these. I didn't tell him that I ordered already the yarn. I just said that yes, I will make him those socks, and I thought that would be a great Christmas gift. So I will be doing those socks before Christmas. Yeah. The next thing I didn't purchase myself. My mom brought it for me. They were on a holiday with my dad, and she brought me this Katia Albikinia. I have no idea how to say that, but it's a alpaca and nylon yarn. It's very soft and drapey, and she brought 2 skeins of it. Now there's fluff. So I don't know what to make with it, but it's a very nice heathered brown. It has these little reddish and yellowish brown fibers, and I think it's very nice color. So I have two of the same, and I will make something out of it at some point. Okay, the next thing is, even though, well, today is the 30th, I'm not sure if I will get this video out today or tomorrow, but if you have ordered the Camijo box, October box, please skip ahead, because I will be showing you the October box, or the insides of the October box next. So if you do not want to see that, look away, because here they are. Look at that. How beautiful is this? This bigger skein is the colorway Maple Leaves, and just so stunning orange. And there are 2 complementary minis to go with it. So I did buy this sock set. It was her October box, and like so it was her October box, and I just wanted the reference picture was this beautiful orangey backdrop with a car similar color to this. So that was the reference for the color scheme. So I was like, yes, that's something that I really like. And because I had just found out that I got a new job, so I was like, all right, I'm just going to pamper myself a little. And yeah, so I bought this set. I already have an idea. I probably will use these for socks, and I will make these coffee bean socks that I have had in mind, and I will use this brown as a contrast, and I will save this for later, but we'll see when that happens. And of course, Camilla from CamijoKnits or Camijo Yarn, she is a Danish designer and hand dyer, and because the yarns came from Denmark, I of course had to take full advantage of the postage. So I did add another skein to go with it, and look at this. This is her colorway Cinnamon Spice, and I just love this. I think it's so beautiful. And yeah, I just had to, because, you know, does anyone else do this? Like, do you increase the value of your cart to maximize the value for the postage, or am I the only one? I thought that because if you are ordering from another country, there's always a bit more postage involved. So yeah, that's what I did. And then my last acquisition was it happened yesterday. So I had my last day of work yesterday in my previous job at the fitness center. So once I got off, I just went for a little coffee, and next to the coffee shop there is this yarn store. It's my local yarn store, and I go there quite often. And I just walked in, I was browsing around, and I was like drawn yet again. This color, this mustardy yellow, Sun has gone Tuve. This is a sport weight, 100% wool yarn, and I was like, it would look so good with like stranded color work. And so then she was like, that's actually a discontinued yarn, and I can sell that to you with a discount. And I was like, discount. So I ended up buying a sweater's quantity, and I have a colorwork sweater in mind. So I bought 9 of this ochre or mustard, and then I bought 2 of this natural white. It's sort of an oatmeal-y color. They are just like color codes. So these 2, I think they are just so good together. And I'm actually thinking I might do the care. My tongue doesn't cooperate. This sweater by Rebecca from the Grea Bear podcast. The pattern is currently in testing, so I will wait until it comes out, and this would be a perfect color combo for that sweater. So that is what I bought yesterday. But in my offense, it was very cheap and affordable, and I got it so with a very good value, so I couldn't resist, although I do have a lot of yarn. And that was, my dear friends, everything craft wise today, and I will just quickly go through the next few weeks that are going to happen, and then I will continue to my other tasks for the day. So as I said, I just had my last day of work yesterday. I have returned my keys, my computer and all, and now I have a week off, and then I will start my new job on the 10th of October. And next week, the mystery knit along for Steven West. So the MCAL 2022 is kicking off, and that's perfect because I have the rest of the week off. I'm just hoping that my kids will stay healthy and I will get that time to work on my designs. And I have still the Elo socks are coming out, and then I have the Vohveli hat and the Vohveli cowl to go through the testing process. And so I do have a lot of those things to catch up. And yeah, so next weekend, the Friday the 7th, I will go to Turku to see my friend, and I will have a long train ride. I will take some socks to go with me, and I am coming back on the Sunday, and then I start my new job, and I have one day here at the store, and then I will go to Helsinki for the next 3 days. So I have another very long train ride for 4.5 hours each direction. So I will have a lot of knitting time ahead, and because I'm staying there for 3 days, I will be staying in a hotel, and I have all the evenings for myself. So maybe I will do a quick video on that trip, because then the next week is going to be hectic. I will be having this intense training. I will be driving to different locations and learning on the spots, or learning on different stores near us. So it's going to be fun. So if you didn't watch my last episode, I am going to work in an optical store selling eyewear, and yeah, that's going to be my new job, and I'm really excited about it. But yeah, life has been crazy. This little flu season is already kicking in, and you know, it's each of us on our turn are having a little symptoms, but then again, that's what happens when the fall comes in. And yeah, but yeah, exciting things, also busy times ahead, and I am hoping to publish my new patterns in October. And yeah, then I may have to take a little break from all this frantic designing. I've been cranking up so many sock and accessory designs that I think it's time to chill for a little bit. Yeah, thank you so much for all the comments last time. I am still on a fence of buying that Chayagu shorter tip set, but I'm not going to do that quite I'm not going to do that right now, but I'm still kind of, I would really love to try them. I have gotten a lot of comments, thank you by the way, for saying that they are fantastic, but then again, there has been my previous experience that, you know, is making me doubt a little bit, but I never know if I don't try. So I'll see see how it goes, but I'm tempted to purchase that twist set, the little blue set of Chiagu twists. Yeah, that is everything, I think, from today. It was very lovely to talk to you, and I'm glad I got a babysitter, or I got some help with my child, so I could record this video for you guys. I hope you have a great day wherever you are, and happy knitting. Bye!